You need the demand because you can have the best product in the world, but if no one knows about it, then how are they going to buy it? And why would they?
First of all, we speak about the people, what people need and what they will get.
But what people can't ever copy is the kind of personality that goes with the brand.
Welcome to Dr. Amazon Podcast, the emergency support channel for FBA private label sellers. We invite top Amazon experts to share the most efficient tips and tricks for your businesses. My name is Vitaly Hizhniak and I am the CGO of Profit Whales. And let's get started.
Many experts believe that the most important aspect to your long-term success on Amazon is developing your own product from scratch. Product innovation instead of improvement. But how could you invent a real useful and best-selling product? Let's ask Cara, owner of 7-figure brand and brand growth specialist at Make It, Brand It, Sell It. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Dr. Amazon podcast. We have discussed a personal success story with entrepreneurs and I know that you love them as I do. So today we have an inspiring guest as Cara, straight talking entrepreneur, inventor and popular speaker. Cara, welcome to the Dr. Amazon podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
Of course, that is a pleasure for us, and I'm really glad that UK community start joining us and sharing all their experience that they have. And today we have a great topic. I would be glad to know, first of all, about you, about how did you get these thoughts on that you need to create a product, and then try to sell it? Because as I understand now, it's difficult to do because a lot of people, they want, for example, do the research, that right now is selling good or could be a trend, but you create this product. How did you do that?
The best reason to create a product is really to solve a pain point that your customer has. And I think this is just as applicable when you're looking for products to sell on Amazon as anywhere else. When I started the business, it was about 11 years ago, and Amazon was not like it was in those days. I basically was a mum who wanted her daughter to sleep when we were out and about with the buggy and the pram. And I also wanted to protect her from the sun, the wind, the chill, etc. I just basically realized that when I saw all my friends, we were all doing the same thing. We're using blankets and muslins and all sorts of things, coats over the pram, trying to get the babies to go to sleep. And I've always been a very good Google hunter or stalker. So if you need a product of some kind, if it exists, I can usually find it. But I couldn't find a product that did what I wanted it to do. So I basically had to invent something sorry, just a little visitor at my door. So I had to invent something that actually solved the problem that I had, because I believed that I was not alone in having this problem. And at the time, there was no other product like it. It was a world first. I launched in a very sort of traditional retailer way. I launched with all the big retailers in the UK. I had a UK distributor. I had a couple of UK distributors, actually. I sold to small retailers, big retailers. I had about 22 distributors worldwide. And then I got to about 2014, which was about 4 years into my journey, and I was getting divorced. And basically, I realized that the business wasn't really making me enough profit to be able to keep me going in the lifestyle that I would like to become accustomed to. And so I didn't really fancy getting a job. So I started looking at other ways of selling because that would make me more margin. And I saw these ads on Facebook. This was about sort of 2014, 2015. And I saw these adverts on Facebook which told me that I could sit on a beach, drink martinis and cocktails and wear sunglasses. And all I had to do was listen to the sound of Amazon, ping, 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 making me money.
As now, right?
Oh, well, maybe now, but not so much then. And also, I'm not really sure that I think we have something called the Advertising Standards Authority in the UK, where you can complain if you think that an advert is misleading. And I think those ads were a little bit misleading. But what I came to understand was that there is a definite way of selling on Amazon My background is brand building. So I actually worked on the launch of eBay and Amazon in the UK before I had my daughter. I launched online grocery shopping in the UK, etc. So I've always come from things very much with a marketing perspective rather than a sales perspective. And I always sort of believe that if you can create the demand, the sales will follow. You need the demand because you can have the best product in the world. But if no one knows about it, then how are they going to buy it? And why would they? So I started studying more what Amazon sellers do, selling the more what I call basic products, like the garlic crushers and the posture supports and all the sort of things that were sort of faddy at that time. I sort of realized that I could sort of marry the two together. So I'm a big believer that, if you're selling on Amazon, if you've got some kind of story, as in there's a genuine reason why you're selling that product and you're trying to build a real genuine brand rather than just selling a mishmash of random objects, then, there are opportunities for everybody to be doing much better on Amazon if you actually start talking about yourself, because people like to buy from people. Mm-hmm. They don't want to buy from a faceless entity that they don't know, and they don't want a sort of a nameless Gmail address where they don't know where that Gmail address is going. They want to see that where they're buying from is somewhere that they can trust, somewhere that cares if there's a problem with a product, that they replace it or refund or do whatever they need to do. That's really, I think, how I've sort of built up the brand, is that the products do what they say they're going to do. Parents have a child that sleeps and is protected from the sun, and they get called lifesaver, godsend, all sorts. And yes, I've been copied 1,000 times, but what people can't ever copy is the kind of personality that goes with the brand and all of the ethos behind why I do what I do, not just the what. So I always do try and say to people, if they come to me for advice on selling on Amazon, talk about your why. Why are you selling on Amazon? Not just the what you're selling on Amazon.
I have a question according to your story. So how to combine to be a mother in one way and to be an entrepreneur in Amazon as some kind of like a new niche for you, a new experience. I understand that you do have working with the brands, helping them to be on eBay or other marketplaces or platforms. But how it was in the case of that you start combining that? How do you do that?
How do you mean? How did I start doing it?
Yeah,
I just started looking. I'm all about. This is not rocket science. Okay, we're not inventing the wheel. We're not sending people into space. Okay, we're selling products, and the fundamental reasons behind why people buy a product, and there are usually several of them. One of them is price, which I think too many Amazon sellers focus on. They focus on price as the only reason, and part of that reason is because Amazon is so price focused. So Amazon is constantly going on about being the cheapest is the best. Well, my products are usually the most expensive and they're the best. And there are a lot of customers out there who want to pay for the extra quality that they get. They don't want something to break in the first 5 minutes. They want something that works and is reasonably priced. Don't get me wrong. It's not like you have to suddenly start adding hundreds of pounds to your price points. But just, being the cheapest is not necessarily the only selling point. Mm-hmm. Plus, as I say, the product should actually work and it should actually do what it says it does. I also think that a lot of sellers don't really pay attention to the things that add cost to the manufacturing process, the packaging, having a website, creating a real brand, because Amazon encourages people to register for brand registry. Yes. Well, some of the names of the brands, you try saying them. Like XXCYLMD. Well, it might be a trademark, but it ain't a brand, honey. Whereas Nike, SnoozeShade, my brand, all the brands, Anchor, Ring, all of those are real brands that people actually then start to look for. And so by actually creating a brand, what you're also doing is you're actually creating new keywords. And you're creating keywords that only you really have the ultimate relevance to. So you sort of move yourself out of the marketplace for all the other people who are searching for the garlic crushers. When you're Joseph, people are looking for your brand. And admittedly, I think it's like 76% of shoppers on Amazon don't look for brands. They are looking for keywords. But that does leave the remaining 24% of people who are looking for a brand and they want to find that brand. I tend to help other brands get onto Amazon, because there's an awful lot of brands like my own who don't sell on Amazon because they're scared of it. They don't understand how it works. They think they're going to lose control, all of those elements. But I think Amazon's an amazing opportunity. And I mean, it does make me laugh, because quite often I get Amazon sellers on various forums and Facebook groups, and they're all complaining, oh, Amazon's so awful. Oh, they've just done this. Oh, how dare they? I tell you what, guys, you try selling into the real retailers, okay, like the Boots and the Tesco's and I've sold into most of them globally. I tell you what, Amazon is a breeze in comparison, and you make way more money, than when you sell to a big retailer. So,
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, because these kind of the mindset, that is something that now Amazon sellers really need in the case of how to build their brand, how to start selling, how to understand correctly what they really need, like for why they use the Amazon. Yeah. And I really like your points in the case of the story, that your brand starts not with some priceless things, or with not exactly like with the main photo or something like that. I mean, you start with a story. Of course, you should do have a branding on a good level, as the photos, bullets, and all these things. But first of all, we speak about the people, what people need and what they will get. If we
you need to focus on what people want to buy, not what you want to sell. And
right.
that is the fundamental difference. And like I say, focus on what the real pain point is that the customer is feeling, and how your product solves that pain point. Because that's really all the customer cares about. They don't give a shit about anything else. And if they think that they've got a problem that no other product will solve, they'll pay for it as well. So you see, sometimes I do think also, there are quite a lot of products out there where actually, people they change the packaging, but they're all selling exactly the same product. So actually, you've got 12 different phone chargers. There's nothing different about any of them. So try and make one of your products different. Spend some money on product development, and actually look at the reviews of your competitors, look at your own reviews, and see what it is, because customers do generally tend to tell you what they want and what they don't want. And you can hear that if you choose to. But I think a lot of people choose not to, because they're all about the cost and not about the actual growing of a business that has longevity.
Yeah, and sometimes they all about like the profit, but not about like the numbers, the units that they would like to sell, and to get like more like loyal audience, like to find these like the brand followers that really want to buy their brands, and for why. And according to that, I have a question in the case how to invent the best selling product, how to find it.
Well, that's a big question.
Yeah, I knew. I just why I have this question. Yeah, because you speak in the case of that we could, for example, do the research in the case of all the reviews of our like competitors, or if we would start following some different categories or something like that, we could find a product that we want to do. But
I do think there's a bit too much emphasis placed on the numbers, if you know what I mean. So I think when a lot of Amazon sellers start off and they're, remember, I'm talking about people who are wanting to sell on Amazon versus people who've got a product and then want to sell on Amazon, because that's a different proposition. But if you're wanting to find a way of making money on Amazon, I think, first of all, personally, I think that Amazon is a very, very difficult world to be in. It's very stressful. It can be very challenging. It can be very expensive. But you see, it's not Amazon that makes it expensive. It's having a product-based business that makes it expensive, because the difference between a service business is that I can set up anywhere in the world with my laptop and I can sell my time. Now, admittedly, I only have 24 hours of the day and I like to sleep quite a lot. So that probably, and I like a lie-in and I like to stop work. So I've probably only got really about 6 hours available that I can sell, but that actually doesn't necessarily have a cost. Whereas for every single product that I want to sell, I have to physically create that product and have it ready to go so that somebody can buy it, because without the product to buy, there is no business. And this is something I think people often forget when they are setting up an Amazon business, because it is a more expensive option than a service business, and it always will be. And you can never do anything to change that. And I think that the primary thing, I think, when you're going to be working in this sort of environment is you've got to love what you're doing. So I think it's really sad when I see people just literally researching products and they don't care about them. They have no interest in them. They're like, oh, I'm going to do a dog product, and they hate dogs. You know, I mean, how can you as a brand owner empathize? I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm 49 now. My daughter's 13, but I've had a baby. And I've been through that process, and I understand my customers and I understand what they want. I like dogs. I haven't got one. I've got cats. So if I was going to do another category, I'd probably do a cat product because I understand how I think about cats. And that's a good starting point, because I'm pretty sure there are quite a few things out there which either aren't selling on Amazon already and should be, or there are some things on Amazon that sell, but they're not quite good enough, and you could change them and you could work on it to make it better. But, you know, that is a harder road to take. It's not as simple as just literally taking a cat bowl and then putting it in a box that has your XYLZ brand on and selling it for £5. But that's the difference between building what I call a real business versus building something that, you know, it's kind of that it's just for the money, if you know what I mean.
Yes. I really like the idea that Amazon is not like just the money-making machine, like have all people like think about that. I could buy some products in China and then put my label or something like that, or send products from the like Ukraine and to Amazon and get more and more sales. And here it is. I really like the idea that the Amazon, it's just the marketplace.
It's just a sales channel. It's a very good sales channel, okay? But you shouldn't just be thinking about Amazon. This is my point. Like, if you're actually serious about building a business, for example, I had one of my products taken down for, I think it was 11 days last year, due to a trademark infringement, which was rubbish. But anyway, nonetheless, got taken down. And that lost me about $50,000 over that 11-day period. But because I have a website in the US, I took a high percentage of those lost sales through my website. I fulfilled them using my Amazon stock, but actually I didn't lose out. And the same, every time I go out of stock, like recently we've had all the inventory levels going off all over the place. We were having real problems getting stock in because we're selling out faster than we can get stock in. Well, I've got my website on the side, so people then come and look, because they look for the brand, they look for the product, they come find us, we can talk to them and say, it'll be a few days, do you mind waiting? No problem. That's it, sold. And I think, you know, this is the thing, it's sort of, if you're going to just focus on Amazon, it's going to be a very, very narrow kind of perspective. Whereas, you know, if you're building a real business, you know, you wouldn't start a gardening business and only sell to one customer. You know, you go out looking for other customers, you go and try and attract new business in, you know, like you just got to think about it like you would a normal business.
And you will also prepare a place where you should do that, as we have our like Amazon or website is also the things that we invest to get our audience in. I mean, like all followers that would like to go and to check, for example, our brand. And of course, the website is also the thing that right now Amazon really like. I mean, like the non-Amazon traffic, it's like helping you to grow. But yeah, today we're speaking about that. You have mentioned that. When you became like a bestseller or started to sell more and more, and you are new in this niche, you got some copies, right? You got some competitors that tried to copy you. How to work with that?
So actually, I was a bestseller on Amazon right from the word go. So I launched back in 2010, and I was number one in my category right from the word go, because I was selling directly to Vendor Central, and I also had a distributor who was selling to resellers. I don't do that now. So I'm the only person who sells on Amazon, unless like occasionally there's the odd person who finds one somewhere and then they sell it. And this is another thing, you know, there really is no value in anybody else selling your product on Amazon. Because the only thing you can end up doing is having a price war, because there's no other way how are you going to fight when you're selling exactly the same product? And yes, I've had copies. So I was copied by Aldi, you know, the supermarket chain. They copied my best-selling product back in 2019. So I challenged them legally and we settled. I've had other people like use my copy from my Amazon listing and just change my product name to their product name on their website. I've had people using my packaging images and turning them black and white and putting them on their packaging and copying the product. So, it is a challenge, but at the same time, if I was selling to every single person who's had a baby, I wouldn't be sitting talking to you from my office in my back garden. I'd be on a beach in Barbados drinking cocktails, okay, being realistic. So there are plenty of people who don't know about my brand and who won't know about my brand. And there are plenty of people also who maybe can't afford my products. So as a general rule, I haven't yet been disproven. Copies tend to be cheaper because the only way they can really compete is on price. So generally the product is not as nice a product, and it hasn't been produced in the same way. It's often, I buy them all, I look at them and I'm like, fine. But you know what, for somebody, not everybody is lucky enough to have that sort of money, like spending £20 on a sunshade for the pram. Some people have only got £10. Some people would struggle to find that, and so I think all it does is it just widens the reach, and it means that more people know that these sorts of products are available. Then it's up to you to deliver really good customer service, really good product that works. If there's a problem with it, deal with it really nicely, deal with it. I mean, I've dealt with some Amazon sellers when I've had problems with my own orders, and I've been gobsmacked. I'm like, oh my God, like, why are you still in business? Whereas other people, I'm like, wow, good, well done, great customer service. I would buy from you again. But you see, for me, a problem is merely an amazing opportunity to turn a customer around, right? A lot of people see problems as a headache, customers complaining, et cetera, et cetera. Well, if the customers are complaining all the time about the same thing, there's something wrong with the product, right? Mm-hmm. If they're complaining about things are going wrong, you've maybe got a faulty batch. You need to look into that. If it's just the occasional thing, or they don't know how to use it properly, then you need to make your instructions better. So all of those are opportunities for you to make what you do better rather than seeing it. And if a customer is really unhappy, the worst case scenario is give them their bloody money back. Like, Jesus,
here's no problem. Yeah.
It's not a problem. Like, okay, sorry, it didn't work for you. Here's your money. But most of the time, if there's a fault or something, I'm like, I'm so sorry. And I am genuinely sorry. I say, I have a very, very low fault rate. I do. It's like 0.01%, which on a sewn product is amazing.
When you do the business, I guess there is only one thing that could help you to grow and to find you and your opportunities every time. If you get a feedback, that is good. If you do not get a feedback, that's
how I've developed. So I went from one product in 2010. I've now got 16 different products. And every single product has been developed because a customer has said something enough times. Like, I want one for the infant car seat. I want one for the travel car. I don't like that color trim. And when enough people say these things, you have to listen, or you carry on and then they'll go and buy something else.
So once again, thank you for all our clients that help us to grow all our businesses and to launch new products. Yeah, absolutely agree. And Cara, according to that, could you please provide us with the one main advice for the Amazon sellers?
Deliver great customer service. I really do think it's one thing that gets overlooked a lot. And that's not sending out an automated email saying I'm a small family business and, it'd be really nice if you could write a review. That's just it's become so cheesy now. It's actually when you have a problem with your product, so for example, if I get a bad review because there's a product that has failed or something, I literally stalk and find that customer and then go in and then approach them. And I've had to sometimes, if they're called Jess or something, I've emailed about 6 people or messaged them saying, I'm not sure if you're the Jess that left this review, but I just wanted to check in because, I don't normally have very many faults and I want to sort it out for you. And they usually, even the people who they don't have a problem, they're like, oh my God, that's so nice, because it shows I care. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the thing. I do think that, it's one area where you can really stand out from a lot of people. Forget Amazon, everywhere in the retail space, by delivering really good customer service.
Let's speak more about you. I would like to hear more about your hobby and maybe you have some favorite book or podcast that you could recommend to our audience.
So I'm not really very exciting, if I'm honest. I don't really have hobbies as such. I have my daughter who keeps me busy. I like socializing, so I tend to see lots of friends and things like that. I swim. I've still got I've just been for a swim, so I think I've got my goggle eyes on at the moment. I don't read business books. I don't listen to podcasts. I haven't got time. So
I have my daughter.
Yeah, exactly. I have my daughter. And I have a very busy business, so I have quite a big team of people who I manage. One of the things I'm working on at the moment, because last year obviously was a nightmare. This time last year, my sales plunged by about 80 to 90%. And so I was sitting with a piece of paper and a pencil trying to work out, and I've still got that piece of paper. I'm going to find it and take a photo of it, because literally I was sitting there working out like how much I could survive on. Like if I did this amount of money on Amazon UK, this amount on US, the bare minimum Canada, Australia, etc. And so last year was supposed to be a year of growth and me doing more things outside of my business, but I had to be pulled right back in again. And at the moment, I'm just busy outsourcing everything I can. I'm getting like copy outsourced. My social media is outsourced anyway. I'm just getting more admin outsourced, getting all of that off my shoulders. And that's really where my focus is. And then generally I just sit and watch box sets on Netflix, and Disney Plus. And and I do read a lot of books, but I don't read business books. I tend to read trash. To sort of, free my mind, get drunk with friends, socialize. I mean, as I said, I'm not really I don't do the miracle morning. I don't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and write a gratitude journal. I haven't got time for that. It's not my thing. Yeah, I'm sure for some people it's lovely. And I know there's people who do it, don't get me wrong. And if it suits you, that's great. But I prefer to actually stay in bed and sleep for longer rather than get up. I'm not very good in the morning at the best of times. Just, enjoying life. I like traveling. So whenever, obviously at the moment, again, slightly difficult. Normally I go away a couple of times somewhere really nice, and then I go away to conferences and meet lots of other sellers and things like that, which is always really lots of fun. So, yeah.
That is great. And I guess we will come back into the traveling soon, and we will have a chance to travel around. And according to that, you spend a lot of time with your team, with managing your Amazon. What next trends do you see for example, for 2020? Oh, 2024.
2021 even.
One main trend, I guess.
Well, I mean, I certainly think that everyone needs to start looking at 3PL solutions, because I think what last year did is it showed Amazon it doesn't want to be a storage warehouse for lots of products that don't sell. And I can see why. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the thing is also, I think sometimes sellers forget that Amazon is a business. It's not a charity. It is there to make money. And whilst they're happy to store products that are selling, they don't want the space filled up with dead ducks, basically. So I think, it's interesting. They just changed all of the inventory levels to being which is great for me, because I know what my strong sellers and my weaker sellers are. And I know what times of year, things need to ramp up. Whereas the ASIN was really crippling us, because I could only get 20 in of this. And, we were doing shipments of 24 units, every day, in order to get stuff in. And I mean, I sell globally. So I sell, UK, US, Europe, Singapore, Australia, Canada. And probably going to go into the UAE and Japan. That's growth, I think, for next year, this year, next year. But I think, just be realistic. When you're dealing with Amazon, don't have all these, people get very offended as if it's some sort of friendly uncle who's kind of screwed them over. And it's not, Amazon are a business, and they're in the business of selling products, and they want products that sell. And just because you want to ship 1,000 units from China straight into Seller Central because it's cheaper for you, doesn't mean that's what Amazon's going to let you do anymore. So I think, I think there's going to be a whole shift in that respect. Also, it was very interesting last year because normally when I work with clients, I would always advise go FBA, don't bother with FBM. But I actually think FBM is a good option as well. I still don't think it'll ever be as good as FBA. But I certainly think now, I have FBM backups. Because of the inventory changing and not being able to get product in, we then get FBM orders and then we can communicate with the customer and say, actually, it's going to be a few days late, refund them their expedited shipping because they ain't going to get it. And just sort of, and I think, so that's been an interesting learning curve because I'd never really done FBM before. Last year, I was literally sitting there going, FBM, oh my God.
Yeah. I guess that for a lot of Amazon sellers, that was like a one thing that they just explore during the 2020, like FBM, how we should work with that, how we start like do and manage our inventory in this case. Yeah, and I guess the last question for today, Cara, who should be the next guest for the Dr. Amazon podcast?
Oh God, I don't know. Idea. I don't. To be fair, I don't actually know who's been on before. But I just think, I think actually find other people like me. Because I think there's an awful lot of people who can add value to what your traditional Amazon seller is doing, who are doing things slightly differently and who aren't maybe as Amazon. Like, so make sure you're keeping the remit a bit broader. Because, it's picking up, like what I did is I wanted to sell more. So I picked up on more what Amazon sellers were doing. So Amazon sellers need to pick up more on what other brands are doing off of Amazon.
Yeah.
And I think that is always going to be beneficial.
And that's why I guess you will come back to the Dr. Amazon podcast, and we will speak with you about other things that we could do. Yeah, not exactly like the brand building as we speak today. So thank you so much, Cara. Thank you for sharing this story. Thank you for sharing all these tips and tricks. And I guess that right now a lot of people will go and recheck their customer service. How they do. Yeah, I really think that is absolutely helpful. And thank you so much for all the things.
Pleasure.
And that is all for today's Dr. Amazon episode. Do not miss our future arrivals with the new hot topics. Press the like button, leave us a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. We will come back to you shortly.